Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Joe versus S-Jow here on Lost Temple. Joe spawned as the green Protoss player at the 1 o'clock position. Meanwhile, S-Jow or Shark G S-Jow spawned as the red Terran player at the 7 o'clock position. Now, I'm going to just try to refer to these players as Terran versus Protoss throughout the rest of the matchup, as their names gave me a little bit of a tongue twister, and I had to recast this video at least in the first minute. So, still don't know what's going to happen, and I can't say Joe S-Jow all too quickly. So, the Terran player now spawning here at the 7 o'clock position most likely will throw up a 10 supply depot in just a moment. We'll see if that supply depot is on the front door or if it will just be relatively close, and it is just going to be relatively close. Meanwhile, Joe throwing down a pylon over here, the Protoss player throwing down a pylon by his Nexus, will be getting a gateway in just a moment. And this game is now underway as the Protoss player, now scouting in the counterclockwise direction, will be able to come across this empty base and realize that the Terran player did not spawn here. Meanwhile, back over here, we do see the supply depot has been lowered. We should be seeing a barracks in just a moment, as this SCV now makes its way over, getting 150 minerals and throwing down a barrack. So a standard 12 racks. Meanwhile, Joe throwing up a 13 gateway instead of the standard 12 gateway. So Joe going for a very heavy economic game, and now we'll be able to chrono boost 2 additional probes. So 2 additional probes will give Joe about a 14 to 13, almost a 15 to 13 harvester difference in just a moment. Now in comes this probe, the probe able to scout around, take a look, trying to deal some damage towards that SCV. One SCV comes off the mineral line in order to fight back against this one probe. Probe takes 5 points of natural damage, and now we'll be going after this one SCV. Once again, a new SCV coming over to try to help his friend. And now the probe, now slowly recharging his shields back up to 10, 11, really recharging very quickly as a Marine now being trained up as well. So in comes this probe still trying to get as much sight as he can into this base, and now going after this SCV once again. So now this SCV down to 25 hit points, this probe down to 15 and being forced to pull back. We do see one refinery currently just trying to mine more and more gas as a Marine now coming out, and a second barracks being thrown down. So we're going off of a 2 racks build coming in from the Terran player. Meanwhile, Joe getting a cybernetics core now, and also an additional assimilator. So 2 gas into an 2 gas assimilator play really indicates to me that he should be going for either robotics facility or for a void race. I would like to see a proxy Stargate here, as that would be a very strong opening. And now that Marine doing some scouting of his own, we see that S-Jow does not know where his opponent is just quite yet. So now moving out with this Marine, that Marine will walk up that ramp. This one probe perhaps should travel over here, but no, it looks like as though we may have a hidden tech over here by Joe. So Joe throwing up a pylon on this high ground by this natural brush. We'll see what that additional building will be in just a moment, as now that Cybernetics core researching that warp gate facility, and now getting a stalker as well. So that stalker being trained up to shoo away any Marine, and now out moves another probe. This probe, however, running into the Gauss rifle of another Marine, and now one Marine trying to get some additional shots off. Will it be enough to micro? No, not able, as that probe able to escape with only 5 hit points. If that Marine was just a little bit closer, he would have been able to get that off. One stalker finally moving out as well, both sides with very small armies. Taking a look at the harvester count, Joe sitting at 19 harvesters. Meanwhile, the Joe sitting at 25 harvesters. Meanwhile, S-Jow sitting at 20. As now we are getting the command center. So S-Jow going for early command center before a factory. One training, we have 2 racks, one with a reactor, so one training Marines, the other one training Marauders. No stim pack or combat shield or concussive shells just quite yet. One stalker just completely blowing by these group of Marines, and now will the stalker be able to deal any damage is the key question. We do have another Marauder coming into play and able to snipe down one of those units there. Will he be able to get off another SCV? No, unable to get that second SCV off. Very nicely done with that one stalker. That one stalker going, however, we now have a Reaper in the base. So a Reaper now going after the mineral line here. So this one Reaper will be micro. The Reaper does have a little bit of a faster movement speed, 2.95 versus 2.81. And now in comes a Stargate in the back. And we now see Phoenixes being trained. So Phoenix is now being trained by Joe, and that will be a Graviton beaming perhaps these Marauders and these Marines. So if he goes for Phoenix Zealot, that will work out fairly well. However, Joe going into perhaps a weird 2-1-1 build. We now see Phoenixes being trained at a robotics facility, will train up some observers, and now more and more Zealots will be trained up back over here. We now see one Zealot here. as that is a rather strange opening coming in from Joe. Joe, however, does not know about this expansion over here. Was he able to gain sight? No, yes, he was able to gain sight on this command center before it lifted it off and was completed. So most likely Joe knows that there is an expansion attempt. One Phoenix now moving out will not be able to do anything against that one Marauder here. That Phoenix now gonna do as much scouting as possible. Marines, now are we gonna pick up? No, not gonna be able to pick up anything there. And now in comes a group of Marines. Marines able to get off one round of attack and deplete all the shields off of that Phoenix. And now we also see a missile turret in play. So this missile turret will force this one unit to pull out, or this one missile turret to pull out. There we go, Graviton beaming at the last second. However, another SCV comes off, and now we'll be able to finish that missile turret there. That one Phoenix still sitting there taking some damage. Two Phoenixes now very, very low on hit points. Both of them down into that orange damage zone. One at 63, the other at 36. Back over here, we do see one missile turret in play. So this one missile turret will be able to protect against any sort of Phoenix harassment. So no Phoenix harassment will be able to move out. However, one Phoenix may be able to Graviton beam another Marauder in the center of the map. So it will be 3 Phoenixes in just a moment. And now Joe picking, is he going to pick it up? Yes, picking it up and now leaving the rest of these 2 Phoenixes here to try to take it down. Will it be enough to take it down? Not, I don't think so. Will it be enough? Oh, just enough. And the Graviton beam does pick it up for about, I believe, 10 seconds. So 10 seconds, 8 damage per attack, yeah, or 16 damage per round of attack, just enough. The Phoenix attacking at 1.1, so picking up another one of those units. Marines now moving over in order to stim and try to take it down. Another one of those issues, however, is after the patch, in order for the Phoenix to really stop channeling, even after that unit is taken down, you need to halt it. So you need to halt that Graviton beam. Now Marines coming back once again, trying to stim and trying to get some damage there. Another SCV being picked off. And so just very, very micro-intensive Phoenix play coming in so far. I do not know if that's going to be really all that beneficial for Joe, as Joe has only done minimal damage. And now as Esjao is able to continue to macro up more and more units, he will be able to get off a lot of damage. We do see a 5 racks play right now, and no factory or starport. So this is just MM, Marine and Marauder with no metavacs. These Phoenixes able to spot out these units here. And now going to come around that corner. Esjao needs to be careful with that stim pack. Without those metavacs, he will not be able to stim as freely. So moving out very, very slowly with this group of Marines and Marauders. Marauders do in fact have that concussive shell. Marines have that combat shield and the stim pack research as well. So we do have what? One Marauder. Stalker's now trying to move out as well, going after this Nexus. Nexus may be able to Graviton the necessary Marauders. So these Marines not quite sure what to do. We do have one Guardian shield now being thrown down as well. More Stalkers on this high ground as well. The Phoenixes should be able to do another Graviton beam to try to even out this fight even further, pick up on more and more of those Marauders, and then pick up more of these units here. So Joe doing a great job using Phoenixes to counter this MMM. Those Marauders were really going to be dealing a lot of damage against those Immortals, however, not enough. And now those Phoenixes, really the hero of that fight, forcing the Marines and the Marauders to stick into that engagement much longer than they would have liked to. We do see one Xel'Naga Watchtower being activated by a lot of Marines, and now these Phoenixes may be able to get off even more harassment in just a moment. We now see a reactor being thrown down with a factory and also a starport, so that means to me double training of metavacs as these Marines and Marauders now moving off to deal damage here. We do see some more Zealots engaging, and will this be enough to finish off this whole entire fight here? Group of Marines and Marauders stimming and now focusing down this one Marauder. Down goes another Marauder. Phoenix is now coming in. Will they be able to Graviton beam? Yeah, gonna take down one Marine, perhaps take down that second Marine as well, and now just gonna go after these Marauders. So now, because the rest of those Marines have been finished, now the Phoenixes will be able to finish off these Marauders. Now Marines underneath trying to deal more and more damage. No Graviton beam between the 3 of these Phoenixes, and now Joe in trouble, needs to get in more and more units. Army 575 versus 1500 as these Marines and Marauders now going after this Nexus. So Esjao doing a great job putting pressure on this one Nexus here. We do have some Marines and Marauders trying to focus down another Stalker here as these units now being picked up. So one Phoenix left does have enough for a Graviton beam. However, Joe not able to do anything, and now Joe says GG, well played. Let's play Dio. Wait, what was second map? Meta? It's removed. So yeah, apparently Desert Oasis has been removed from this whole entire gameplay. So it is going to be, I believe, Metalopolis in this matchup. So game 2 in this series will be at Joe versus S-Jow here on Metalopolis, we do see a command center now being thrown down. So really just smart play by S-Jow. S-Jow opening up with just a 4-racks build, didn't even really need these medevacs all that much. Getting the Marauder, getting the concussive shells, and getting that combat shield, putting a lot of early pressure. We do see that Joe was going eventually for Psystorm, however, didn't even research it just quite yet. Also got that Twilight Council, I believe. We saw Immortals and we also saw Phoenixes, which was a little bit of an issue for Joe. Joe perhaps should have just tried to concentrate on one tech building, either the Void Rays, or either the Phoenixes, or the Immortals, not both, and then also getting that Twilight Council. This is equivalent to the 1-1-1 build from the Terran player. However, this Twilight Council into Templar Archives, these 2 tech buildings do not produce any additional units. So Joe only had 4 production buildings, and that was all there was. S-Jow, on the other hand, had 5 or 6 production buildings, one of them with the reactor, so he was able to produce a lot of units and simply just out macro Joe. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between S-Jow and Joe here on Lost Temple.